It's finally happening, as the New York Rangers have made some pretty shocking roster and lineup decisions ahead of their season opener against the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. Chris Drury has been busy behind the scenes, and we have some shocking comments from coach Peter Laviolette on some surprise performances to make the New York Rangers lineup. All of that and more in this episode of Rangers Digest. We're going to break it all down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button, and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And of course, the season finally starts tonight. We've finally made it to the season opener. It's very exciting, of course, tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Should be a fantastic game, and there's been some pretty interesting lineup and roster decisions made, and a lot of call-ups and sending people down and waivers and all that. And we're going to get to all of that, and of course, who made the team, as well as a injury update. So let's get right into it. A pretty scary injury update as well. So we'll get to that later in the video. But to start, Vince has been great all offseason and of course continuing into the season. So just wanted to give him his flowers on that. He's been covering everything to a T. It's been fantastic, but it's officially game day for the New York Rangers, who finalized their roster yesterday evening and will play in Pittsburgh tonight. Let's begin an eventful day with one thought for every player who made the final cut to begin the season. Now, this is a fantastic article, and I'm going to break down just a few of his thoughts from this article. Not the entire article. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. It's a fantastic article. He breaks down every player that made the roster. It's awesome. But I'm going to highlight a few players in a bit. First, we have to get to some lineup and roster decisions because the Rangers have been busy the last couple days. We also have some quotes we're going to get to about certain players as well, but the Rangers have been busy. So this was just 2 days ago. They had a bunch of transactions to do. They're placing Jimmy Vesey on LTIR, which means he's going to miss 10 games at least, so he'll probably only be back in November, so they're going to have to figure something out by that time when he comes back. And there's a couple guys who made the team that I am fans of, but I think they only made the team because Jimmy Vesey is eligible to go on LTIR. So that means Vesey will have to miss a minimum of 10 games, 24 days, whatever it equals out to, and then they're going to have to do something with that after. Ryan Lindgren is going on the regular IR, which means he will still count against the cap, and he's only going to miss about 7 days. He's going to be back in pretty short order. Again, I think Victor Mancini, for example, making the team is a great storyline, yes, but I think, Ryan Lindgren being out helped with that, and Mancini, a guy like Mancini at least, because I think Zach Jones is ahead of him for sure at this point, will be sent back to Hartford when that happens. And in other cap-saving measures, the New York Rangers will be assigning Edstrom, Rempe, Cooley, Mancini, and Berard to the AHL Wolfpack. Now, people saw this and freaked out the other day, and not even the other day. I saw it this morning, even still. They're going to be back today, these players, because there's no way that the Rangers are going to start the season without them. This was just cap-saving measures to then essentially complete the 22-man roster today. So these players will be back, not including Lindgren and Vesey, of course, from Vince, but yes, but this is his guess as well, and everyone's guess, that these players, Edstrom, Rempe, Cooley, and Mancini, will be back today and will play against the Pittsburgh Penguins, because obviously they've made the team, but there's just some salary cap shenanigans going on, which a lot of teams are doing. I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs are cap compliant by $1, and we're going to get into that in a minute too, about where the New York Rangers fall into that. But it's a new season, and Peter Laviolette went on to say, it's a new season. There's a lot of new players. There's a lot of young players on this team, and they're still focused on winning a Stanley Cup. So they're not talking about last season. They're not focused on last season. It's in the rearview mirror, and they want to focus on this season. And there were some pretty interesting quotes from a couple players on some other players, and of course, Coach Peter Laviolette. And this is Chris Kreider on Victor Mancini. He says he's big, strong, fast, competitive, good attitude, seems like a good kid, not a whole lot not to like. So obviously, Chris Kreider, huge fan of Victor Mancini. I think a lot of Rangers fans are a huge fan of Victor Mancini. He's looked great so far this year in the preseason, and obviously he's getting an opportunity here to start the year with the New York Rangers, and I'm sure he's going to show out in his first game. He looked fantastic in training camp and, of course, in the preseason. And this is Peter Laviolette on another youngster in Brett Berard, who is sticking around with the team, obviously due to injury, and we'll get to that in just a second as well. but he has made an impression with everybody. It's the way he works and the way he competes. You see him out there mixed in with a full NHL team, and he looks really good. So obviously, he doesn't look a step behind. I think most people could agree with that, but obviously the Rangers have a lot of talent, so he's just a victim of that and will probably be sent back to the Wolfpack. But that's fine. You know, he's going to go down there. He's going to continue his development, and that is totally fine. I mean, you know, he's still young. He's still making his way into the NHL. So the Rangers are on a mission this year to win the Stanley Cup. Now, the reason he's still with the team, or one of the reasons, is because there was another injury, and we'll get to that now. And that was, of course, Artemi Panarin. And they interviewed Artemi Panarin yesterday, and he said he is good to go for the season opener on Wednesday. And, of course, taking a little bit of a shot at line mate Alexis Lafreniere, he said he had to come back and reclaim his spot on power play one because he looked terrible, is the exact quote. So obviously having fun before the season starts. Nice to see everybody in good spirits and ready to go for the season. So no worries there on the Artemi Panarin front. He will be back for the season opener and looks to be fully healthy and ready to rock this season. So very exciting for the New York Rangers to have one of their best players back in the lineup. Now, to get back into this season and what I was talking about earlier in Vince's article is he highlighted a couple players, right? And one of them was Zach Jones, and another one we'll get to is Victor Mancini. And I'm only going to highlight these two again. If you want to go check out the full article, he had some interesting thoughts on some of the top guys as well. But I'm only going to highlight these guys because we know what the top guys are about, and just for, you know, saving time's sake, we're just going to highlight a couple guys, and I thought this was very interesting on Zach Jones. So this is the opportunity for a 23-year-old who's turning 24 this season that he's been waiting for, obviously. He looked ready for a full-time role while playing regularly at the end of last season, because of Jacob Trouba's injury, and he convinced the Rangers to let veteran Erik Gustafsson walk in free agency to clear a spot for him because he was clearly ready. He's ready to be a full-time NHLer. He bulked up to 190 pounds over the summer to prepare for the wear and tear of defending the world's best forwards and obviously the world's best team, because the Rangers won the President's Trophy last year and are gunning for the Stanley Cup this year. And if he can hold up his own end, it should allow his puck-moving skills to shine. I thought that was very interesting. And then some thoughts on Victor Mancini as well. The biggest surprise of camp was undoubtedly Mancini. I think everybody can agree with that. Like, I don't think anybody saw Victor Mancini making the team or even had him on his radar. And I mean that with all due respect. He has come out and looked fantastic and has made a name for himself. So the 22-year-old fringe prospect who was a fifth-round pick just a couple years ago and wasn't even drafted in his first 2 years of eligibility. The Rangers took a chance on him in the fifth round 2022, like I mentioned, and he's 6'3", 229 pounds, so he's ready for the NHL, and obviously was further down on the depth chart the last couple of years, but has made his way up. Obviously, he's starting the year with the Rangers. Super exciting. And Lindgren is going to come back and take that spot back. But Mancini has made a name for himself. And anytime there's an injury or even looking forward, if there, we don't know what's going to happen with the salary cap because Shesterkin's demanding a lot of money. And obviously, a lot of players are due raises next year. So he's carved himself out a larger role in the future. Totally agree with Vince on that. Victor Mancini has been the surprise of the season so far for the Rangers, and we only start tonight. So very, very exciting and ready to go for this season of New York Rangers hockey. So let me know in the comments if you're excited to get this season kickstarted. I know a lot of people are disappointed after last year, but a lot of the players, coaches, management, putting that in the rearview mirror. They're focused on this year. The Rangers have a lot of really young talent to look forward to. And of course, it all kicks off tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's going to be very exciting. So let me know what you think of all the interesting roster decisions, cap moves. The Rangers are cap compliant by, $8,000 or something like that. It's pretty crazy. And they're going to have to do something coming up here once Jimmy Vesey comes back from LTIR. But that's a future problem in a month. Let's see how the team plays in the first couple games. And it's very exciting. Kicks off tonight. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.